What are we supposed to do? Dennis, is he going to call him in himself, or do I need to call him in?
I think he's going to call him.
So that he's connected to everybody's audio. I sent him the link.
So he's supposed to zoom in too.
He is supposed to zoom in too.
Okay, so I don't have to do nothing. Well,
I
Maybe
texted him.
not.
are we ready, Ms. Hamilton? Call this meeting to order. Please rise. Hamilton.
Certainly, if you'll join me. Father God, we come to you and we just thank you and praise you for how good you are and for the rains that you've sent. Lord, they're just such a blessing, and we trust that you always know just what we need, and it's in your time that you see that fit. Lord, we thank you for your precious son that you sent, and we just thank you for everyone that's here today. Please keep everyone safe and guide and direct us in all that we do, and help us to really remember that we are here to reflect you and to be your hands and your feet. And it's in your son's precious name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation
Under God, indivisible.
State of New Mexico.
Mexico,
Perfect friendship among the
among the United cultures. Sorry. Okay, item 1, approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second. Motion has been made and second to approve item 1 agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have motion carries 4 yes. Approval of minutes. September 5th, regular meeting, and September 8th, special meeting.
I'll move to approve.
And I'll second. Motion has been made and second to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
4 yes votes. Approval of accounts payable and payroll. I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and second to approve accounts payable and payroll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can y'all hear me?
We have Dennis Lopez. Yes, 5 yes.
So I apologize. I had difficulties with both laptops, so glad to see everyone.
Good to see you, Dennis. Informational items, presentation, an update of the NMU Chancellor, Dr. James Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, for the opportunity to speak with you and talk to you about some of the things happening at Eastern and where we are as we start fall semester. First, a couple of things. I always love this time of year. It's, now it's cool enough in the mornings, feels like fall and the start of an academic year. And I was reflecting with my staff on campus. This is my 30th fall semester to start, so I guess I enjoy some part of that. I'm very excited to talk about some of the numbers and where we are. And I'll start with the system growth, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the Portales campus. But we are up across the board. Our enrollment is up in Ruidoso by 7%, Roswell by 8%, and our overall enrollment growth here in Portales is 5.7%. Some of the numbers I want to share because it leads into some of the direction of what we're doing. When you drill into those numbers a little bit, our first-time freshman class is up 14.5%. Enrolled, the new transfers is up 16%. A couple of other numbers we look at, it's important to us because it reflects a residential growth. I was asked when I first came here about growing back the residential population and those students taking face-to-face classes. Our numbers of those taking exclusively face-to-face is up 19.7% over last year. So we're seeing that come back. And participated in my first dog days, move in the residence halls, and we moved in 638 students on move-in day. That's 135 more than we had on campus last year. So I think you're starting to see that and feel that in the community. I hope we certainly see it on campus, going into the dining hall on during lunch and seeing that dining hall full every day for lunch and for dinner. So those are important numbers to see, and I think to come back to the community. One of the things that I'm working towards, and a vision, my direction I presented for ENMU and for the system, we're calling One Eastern. And as I've shared around, this is a vision direction that was informed by meetings with every single department on campus and the meetings with the Roswell and Ruidoso campuses. What One Eastern is about is a couple of things. It's that opportunity to connect with our community and grow together. It's also about making everything that we offer system-wide, every program on every campus, available to every student that enrolls in Eastern. I made it very clear from the beginning, it's not about poaching students from one campus to the other, or that all of the community college students transfer to the university. The easiest way I've reflected what we're talking about is we have a computer science major here in Portales that wants to add the cybersecurity certificate from Ruidoso. We can make that happen. That phase one of that task force and that program started this semester. So we're working that direction now. There's a lot of administrative things that we have to get out of the way first, and then we will move that direction. So I think you'll see a lot more growth and a lot more fluidity in what we can do as a system at Eastern. We've heard, from others that we presented to, and certainly in Santa Fe in the higher education department, excitement about what we're doing as a system, and really appreciate the collaboration. I take it that's not always the case within a university or within a higher ed system. The one other thing that I would mention, and it would certainly stand for questions, one of the other parts of One Eastern is really connecting more of our students, developing an educated workforce and retaining them here, certainly in our community and in the state. One of the things I've asked for help to do, and a way that we can achieve that, is offering internships. I had several conversations about how we create paid internships. A lot of the students we serve, for whatever reason, it's whether it's working to finish paying for college or working to help mom and dad, or they have a family to support, but they have to work. And to participate in an internship takes away from that opportunity to work. So I'm working on that problem. But broadly, when we have opportunities in the businesses in our community, or we are trying to attract businesses to our area, to the state, I have asked to be a part of those conversations, to be at the table, because when we partner on those, we connect these students to our community and to our state. They see jobs when they walk out the door, and we can retain them here. So that's a joint effort, a work that I can't do alone. I need the help of the business leaders and elected officials to help us move that direction. I've also presented that to the higher education department, and we're talking about ways we may access state funds to help with that initiative as well. So I will stop there and send for any questions you might have about where we're going, what we're doing.
You have anything? Rod, would you like to ask
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lopez?
Just thanks for being present today. I apologize for not being there in person, and thanks for everything you've done thus far. I've seen so many positive things at Eastern, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
That we say thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming out.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Glad for the growth. Okay, item 5, public request. Does anyone like to address the commission?
Good morning, Commission. My name is Angie Smith. I know that on the agenda this morning is the Enabling Act of 1910, and I just wanted to take a moment to express my support for the County Commission moving forward on the Enabling Act and moving that into an ordinance. I know that you'll be learning more about it, and some people, they're like, what are you talking about? But when it comes up and as you begin to learn more about it, I would just like to encourage you to think about it very sincerely. To me, it should be a very easy thing because all we're doing is saying again that we align with the United States Constitution and that within that Enabling Act, it said that we would not support any mandates, orders, ordinances, or anything like that that went against the United States Constitution. It's already been enshrined since 1910. It's simply a matter of reinforcing and restating again that we fall in line with that. And I also believe it would be very helpful to our Sheriff's Department if our County Commission were to move forward and establish such an ordinance. It would give him something more solid to stand on. He already has the United States Constitution to stand on, don't get me wrong, but this for the immediate county itself, this would give him even more solid footing if he were ever to have to address somebody trying to remove constitutional rights of the people of Roosevelt County. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to elected officials, commissioners. Mr. Savage.
I have nothing at this time.
Mr.
Thank you.
Lopez. Mr. Lopez.
Yes, I've got something and I just need some maybe, or we may need some direction or advice from Amber as to how it would work for her office. But I would like to recommend that like starting on Wednesdays before the Tuesday meeting, when we know that something's going to be in the agenda and there's a packet involved, if maybe we can start receiving the agendas one piece at a time, if possible. Amber, what do you think of that recommendation? Would that be possible?
Certainly anything's possible. You're just wanting one attachment that's going to be several emails. So
Well,
is that what you're wanting everything separate?
Well, I don't want to be selfish or anything, but I had to take an emergency trip to Dallas and I was out of pocket. I flew back into Clovis yesterday, and it's just, if we get the chance to kind of get a jump start, I don't mind. I receive hundreds of emails per day through both my jobs and personal, including my personal emails. But I just think if it's something that was feasible, that would be my recommendation. And I think, I don't know how the other commissioners stand, but with our busy schedules and our travelings and everything else that we've got going on, you know, if we had a large topic item and we knew about it already on Wednesday, it'd be nice to kind of receive that file. You know, kind of browse through it, read it that night or Thursday night or Friday night or Saturday night, whatever. It's just a recommendation. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is, God forbid anything happens to any of us, any of our county employees, but if it does, is Liliana trained to take over? Like, let's say, for instance, you went on 2-week vacation and we needed our packets and stuff. Has she been trained to kind of like be your sidekick, in other words, in case, like I said, something would happen that's unfortunate, or you had to go on vacation or whatever it may be? Do we have anybody in the upper management level that would be able to take over and prepare the packets for us? And that's just a curiosity question. I just really don't know. You know, we don't micromanage, and I really don't like to be intervening in how y'all do business, but that is a question that I do have.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, we do have succession planning in all aspects, and Ms. Rivera has done the agenda before in the packet, and yes, she is prepared to be able to do that if she needs to step in for that. Sometimes the items aren't available. So like the item that's on the agenda today was still a work in progress until we received it and did some final work and got the notice of intent. So can certainly send those things out as they become available. It's just sometimes they aren't going to be available until the end of the week when legal finishes their reviews or whatever the delay is. But we can certainly break those up and send those out when they become available.
Okay, I would appreciate it. I just thought I'd address that. I was just thinking about it now that, I had a little, kind of a little family emergency with my daughter in Dallas. But anyway, the other thing, I apologize for not being there, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I told Amber that I'm waiting on our new car to be delivered from Artesia, and they should be here anytime now. So they're doing a huge favor for me to deliver it. I do not have to take the trip up there. So that's the reason I'm on Zoom right now. Thanks.
Thank you. Do you have anything, Lee?
I agree with Commissioner Lopez on that aspect. And I think it'd help us all out. And like I say, in the instance if something was to happen, I think it'd be wise we could, have somebody that could step in, and I'm like we do, and I'm glad to have it. One thing I have to say is got lots of roads that's need some repair, and that we can get them addressed, especially for the school routes. And that's all I have to say.
Dixon?
And I have several roads, I guess is all that I've got. And I've sent you, I think, 3 or 4 emails on different roads. So I've got all of those on there, and you got all of them, right?
So we've already done W. It was done yesterday from 12 to 18. We've had a lot of problems with the farmers out there allowing their fields to blow, and it's really filled up those borrowed ditches. So the road guys, there's not much they're going to be able to do because the water's just going to run down the road. But they do have it fixed for now. That's been repaired. They are on Y today, and they're doing from 18 to 25. They're also working on 12 to 206. We have a blade over. They did AC yesterday. It was all done. AC was actually worse than AG. So we got AC knocked out. They're working on 25, 24, 26, 27. Like that whole map over there. And then we have 2 blades up in the Panhandle that took quite a beating. So they're still working through that. We are reviewing the damage on Sundale Valley that you reported, Commissioner Greider. We do have a blade up in the Texaco school bus route area in District 2 that are working on those. We have another blade over on 9 in your district that's shooting down that and coming around to AP 14, all of those back in there. And so everything we're hitting it as fast as we can. Everyone that's showing up is on a blade.
I have one more question.
Go ahead, Mister.
What's the
Yes.
ETA on the new backhoe loader? Do you know?
Yes, so that's actually on the agenda to discuss during the budget, but I'm happy to set the stage. So y'all had approved the John Deere because there was a savings about 19,000. They came back and said it would be at least 3 months, if not longer, on a delivery. The CAT is available and they could deliver next Friday. This is also something that we've reviewed, the federal recovery fund set of regulations. It is something that we would be able and actually do have budgeted. So Ms. Rivera will present that in her budget adjustment stuff, but it would come out of the federal. So we definitely plan to present and ask for y'all to consider moving to the CAT so that we can take more of an immediate delivery and not be delayed even further. And the parts are supposed to arrive this week for the chip box as well. And they should have been here Monday. Then they were supposed to be here today. Now we had to get them out of a different warehouse. So they're thinking it's going to be Thursday. So we have plan B and C and D in effect in case something happens with the parts because we're in a very tight window. And y'all may get to do sign control or traffic control or something. So we're working on that one.
Keep F and G open.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on, new business, discussion and update of continued public service negotiations with the city of Portales. Commissioners. Ms. Dixon?
Okay, so we met with the city of Portales and they were going to go back and I guess they discussed some of the things. I did talk to Mr. Heflin briefly on the phone. Or no, actually it wasn't. It was after a meeting, standing out in the parking lot. There have been some concerns. We had talked about, you know, even looking towards a wash and then seeing where we were at the end of that. The city is still matter of fact about the detention facility and only doing up to arraignment. We had discussed several times about, you know, we can't afford to go on or whatever. And it was brought to my attention from the city at that point that if we was to close the detention facility, because, you know, if we just can't fit it in the budget, if we was to close the detention facility, that the county is then liable for transportation. Anytime anyone is arrested from the city or anywhere, they take them to the sheriff's department and the county is the one that's liable for transportation to wherever the facility is. If we start transfer to Chavis or Curry, or if we was to go to Lee County, wherever, anyway, we would be on the hook for transportation. And even if they're going to, you know, we take them up there when they get arrested and then we'll have to go back and get them and take them to arraignment. We are the ones that are responsible for all that. So I checked into that a little bit and everything I found so far, that is accurate, that we would be responsible for that. My question is, though, I was going to ask legal, in the event that something like that was to happen, who would then be responsible at the receiving facility? So if the city of Portales arrests someone and brings it to the sheriff's department for us to take to, say, Curry County to detention center, who is responsible for the fee at the receiving facility? Would that be the city or would that be us doing the transfer or the transport?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Dixon, starting off by saying I don't know the answer for sure, but by the logic of Portales, whoever was housing the inmates would be liable.
So that would be us. So
No, I think if we took them to Clovis, then Clovis would have to pay for it. If you go by that logic of Portales.
up into arraignment, though.
Well, I mean, I don't know that. I mean, if, as I understand their argument, mostly it's just whoever is housing them is liable for the cost, and I don't know that there's always that distinction between arraignment pre or post.
Okay.
And
So
and
I'm
also, go ahead. I think that was Commissioner Lopez. I'm not sure.
Yes, my question, I think it's the $1 million question, is who's going to pay the daily rate? You guys are talking about transportation and everything else, but
That's what I'm
when they brought
asking.
inmates from other counties, they pay us to keep them housed. So we're gonna get all this municipal inmate or inmates that come from the municipality and then us be responsible for transport, which that could be understandable. But who would pay Curry County the daily rate of, let's say, 125 per day to be housing those inmates? Who's responsible for that?
That was my question.
Again, just to my answer was that I don't know for sure, but I think if you're going to go by the logic that Portales is using, then whoever happens to have them in their custody is the one that's going to pay for it. And also, just to follow up on your question to Commissioner Dixon, I did a little bit of research on my own regarding the question of whether we're required to transport them if the city brings them to the sheriff's door. And so far, I have not found a statute that says that. If you could get a citation so that I could follow up on that, I would really appreciate it. But I
Okay,
haven't been able to find anything that actually says that that's the case.
okay.
And
I have something at the house. I can go ahead and email it to you and
I'd really appreciate that because I mean I have looked and I haven't spent an hour or two on it, but I haven't been able to find anything, and that would help me nail down the question and the what the parameters of that really are.
okay. So I guess basically where we're at is detention is one of those places we're stuck at because as you can see, the laws are not clear. The statute, I guess, is not clear on either side. It's not black and white. This is the way it is. And so we get just different opinions and things. And so we're kind of at a standstill with that. I don't know where we're going to go from there. I mean, we are not statutorily obligated for fire and EMS. However, I think we do need to, we do care about our residents and we need to make sure that our residents are covered. But I feel like it's just coming down to who wants to pay what. And it's like people have commented from the public that we're putting a price tag on them. Well, and I don't want it to be that way. And I don't want it to feel that way. But when it's government and it's county money versus personal money, we have laws and we have guidelines that we have to go by when we do certain things. So we're just it seems to be an impasse trying to decide what we're going to do with detention. I guess what we need to do is find out what we're going to do about past arraignment. And we're going to have to figure out if we're going to stay, if we're going to keep the facility, how we're going to work through this, because I think that the prices and the numbers that we've given them are huge. And I mean, they've been paying $55 a day up until arraignment. And we are going to start charging them the regular, what is it, 154?
Correct.
Okay. And so, because that is the going rate, we just always just left it at the lower one. So I think at this point, it is my recommendation at this point, until we can get a decision made on how we're going to do it, I think that we need to continue billing them the way that we for whatever stay we've been billing them at. But I think that we need to bill them at the 154 and go ahead and start invoicing that. Because am I correct that we haven't been invoicing them for any of the detention since this started?
No, that's not correct. So they were billed through the end of the fiscal year, and then we provided them notice that y'all would be considering billing at the new rate. And we said that would start in August. So that's
Okay.
what they're working up this month is, since August is complete, it would be billed in September.
Okay, so they were paying the 55 up until
Through
arraignment.
June 30th.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so I think we just need to get answers on the other questions and maybe sit down and talk to them. I mean, we're still paying for dispatch. We do have that resolved, and we are paying them the dispatch fee. And I don't know, we pay a water bill, we pay a trash bill, we pay those things, which is about $18,000 that we're paying, and that's an estimate, to the city from the county for water and trash at the detention. I mean, I don't feel like it's helpful on both sides, because I mean, honestly, I think that's something that they could have cut off of there and not billed us for water and trash when we've been having to pay them past arraignment. We've set them at 55, but they're going to still bill us for water and trash. And so we had asked for that to be off there too, but they haven't given any kind of response towards that.
Well, thank you for your report. That's good. You have anything?
Covered it all.
Do you have
Okay,
any suggestions?
pray.
Doing it.
Okay, if that's it, Rod, Dennis, do you have anything or y'all we'll move on?
I'm ready to move on.
Okay,
Thanks, Tina,
Mhm.
Commissioner Criswell, Commissioner Dixon.
moving on to item 8, resolutions, ordinance and proclamations. Item A, consideration resolution 2023-39, first quarter fiscal year 24 budget adjustment. Lily.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, you have before you our FY24 first quarter budget adjustments. We have a few, like Ms. Hamilton mentioned earlier, we have a few adjustments to our ARPA funds, which that one is covering our equipment and machinery request. You'll see that on there for $169,000. You'll also see a budget adjustment to our software and IT services, and then to our building repair and maintenance ARPA funds budget adjustment. And then also the LATCF funds budget adjustments to include the revenue and then the expenditure line item. So with that, I'll stand for any question unless Ms. Hamilton would like to add any details.
No, but I'm happy to stand for questions on the loader because at this point we have the original included in there, but we definitely want and need to consider moving forward with the CAT. That's really the recommendation of the county staff.
And
Okay. Did you understand what we got going, Lily?
Sounds like we're
I
about to
think-
spend 30,000 in 3 months. Well, 3-month arrival earlier.
19,000.
19.
Yeah.
And it does have the same warranty. We did verify that. It's 5 years.
Well, I will make the motion to approve resolution 2023-39. And do I need to include anything else?
No, we'll come back
Okay,
on that one for the further adjustment.
I'll second.
okay, motion has been made and second to approve. Item 8A. Roy Lee, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tina,
Yes.
Rod,
Yes,
and Dennis?
Yes.
And yes for myself, 5 yes votes. Item 8B, discussion and possible action responding to the executive action in violation of state and federal constitutional civil rights. Michael? And Commission. Michael?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This matter has been kind of floating around various counties and probably various cities too, following the governor's public health order banning concealed and open carry of firearms in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County. And various versions of some response came to me, and I tried to put together something that I think would work. One of them, well, there are a lot of, I think there are a lot of different possibilities, a lot of different contours to it. And one of the things that is kind of, that stands out to me is there does seem to be a lot of reliance on enabling acts, which were sort of the vehicles that were used when New Mexico became a state. And the way I set up a draft was more simply just to rely on the state and federal constitutions, which are immediate laws that apply to all of us. And so I sort of set it up that way. I guess it's also subject to modification. And there is some point at which all of the all of that it attempts to do is done in some fashion to a certain extent already, because the state and federal constitution and federal and state laws already provide certain remedies for violation of the Constitution. So I guess one of the things to think about is how to make it effective and how to make it enforceable. But I don't have much to add to that. I just would want to give time to anybody else that wants to speak about it.
Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Savage.
I received supposedly a copy of an ordinance from Sandoval County. Evidently, Sandoval County was going to, their commissioners were going to present that essentially is a fill in the blank type ordinance that says the same thing, that we're going to abide by the Enabling Act, and we consider the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of New Mexico as the supreme law of the land, and we're not going to enforce any edicts from the state government or any of its employees or any representative of state government that is contrary to the United States Constitution. And so I forwarded that on to Mrs. Hamilton and Mr. Garcia. And since that time, Mr. Garcia is trying to put together something that he thinks will work. And you have a copy of what he has presented, and I think that what he's presented is good. I like what he did, and I appreciate his work. So, I'm going to recommend that we go ahead and move forward with this intent to consider. But to me, it's more than just about the Second Amendment. When we go to changing the United States Constitution to deny people their God-given rights, then this time this edict was about the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms. Next time, though, in the name of an emergency, it may be something else. Who knows? That emergency, for instance, is hypothetically could be something like, well, we have a water shortage. Therefore, in the name of emergency, I'm going to forbid you to pump your wells, maybe your domestic well on your private property. In the name of an emergency, since it's a drought situation, and we think that Dune Sagebrush lizard is in danger, or the prairie chicken, and we're going to deny you the right to travel on your own private property to disturb any lake. We don't know what the next emergency could bring. So with that bearing in mind, I'm very concerned about the governor, or it might not be this governor, it may be some governor in the future, who knows? But any person or government who passes edict preventing people to enjoy their civil rights, I think that is a great concern to me, a great concern to many of my constituents. And I certainly want to move forward on this notice of intent. This ability of the governor to declare an emergency, to do an end run around a statute is nothing new. We saw this on the mask mandate, where Governor Bill Richardson's House Bill 212 and 203 clearly defined a statute, what the proper procedure would be if a school system was, in violation of a statute. But this governor, instead of choosing the method that require 30 days and an opportunity for an appeal, she did it on the in the by grounds of an emergency, well, she could do it immediately. This emergency ploy by the governor is, in my mind, greatly abused. And I think that as a county and as a people, we should take every opportunity to push back against tyranny. And in my opinion, that's exactly what it is. And so there may be some amendments coming, and Mr. Garcia and I have talked about that. I've received some information from Mr. Larry Mocker, who is in the audience today, suggesting that there may be some necessary amendments or possible amendments that would render this ordinance more enforceable, which may come later. But as far as today, I think we should move forward on and pass the motion to that we intend to consider this ordinance. So I don't know if you are ready for a motion at this time or ready. I yield to any other commissioner who has an opinion.
And I would believe I would accept that as a motion. And I just wanted to clarify, we can pass our intent to do an ordinance on this, can't we? With what we have, what information we have on our agenda?
Mr. Chair, are you asking me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I believe we can. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Savage has made a motion to approve, I guess, the intent to pass an ordinance upcoming. What is the timeline, in 2 weeks or 3?
October 3rd. Yes, sir. At the
October
next
3rd
regular
to
meeting.
be presented October 3rd. And I
Discussion,
will
Mr.
second
Chairman.
that. I will second that. Mr. Lopez, what do you have?
I'm sorry for interrupting. I just need to clarify some things. So the intent is just that we're gonna bring it back to us, because I would recommend that only because, and I'm gonna vote yes on this, but I really need more time to research this. More of the details, because there's gonna be a lot of opinions in reference to this issue, and I just want to know the whole intent behind it, or try to find out the whole intent, even if I reach out to our legal counsel. But yeah, I'll vote yes, Mr. Chairman, after you do roll call.
Okay. Okay, motion has been made and seconded. So Mr. Lopez, what is your vote?
Yes.
Mr. Savage,
Yes.
Mr. Creswell,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon, yes. My vote, yes. 5 yes votes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just
Please
one
go
point
ahead.
that I forgot to make earlier, and Commissioner Savage did allude to it. There was a draft, at least one draft, that was going around with the Sandoval County letterhead on it of these various ordinances. And I did communicate with the Sandoval County attorney, and apparently it did not originate with Sandoval County. And I think somebody must have just put the Sandoval County logo on it or something. But he tells me that that's not where it started. And to my knowledge, I don't know if Sandoval actually enacted it. The reason I bring that up is just make sure that we have kind of a clear picture, accurate record of who's doing what.
Right. Well, I reviewed
Thanks.
that ordinance and I sort of agree with it. Nevertheless,
Now I'm a little concerned. If someone's putting an ordinance of this stature on somebody else's letterhead, and counties like us, because if he wouldn't have mentioned that, I would have had the impression that Rio Rancho and that whole area was endorsing this. So I'm very concerned about that.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lopez, if I may. I don't know that they're not going to do it. All I know is that at some point in the discussion, somebody had put put that logo on top of it, and that it did not originate there in Sandoval. But it does seem that it's making the rounds around the different counties in the state. And so, I mean, I want there to be, and my apologies for not interjecting this a little sooner. I didn't want to interrupt the vote, but I did want to give you all a clear picture of it. I don't know that there's anything that's different or not, but I'll leave that up to you to judge about who all is supporting it and who all is not.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Moving on to
Okay.
item 9A, request for approval of grant agreement amendment number 1 for contract number P19649/1, New Mexico Department of Transportation. Carol.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, so this amendment is for the new database reporting system, which it used to be CPMS and now is a new system that we will have to report quarterly instead of monthly. Like that. And this is the first amendment that we have received on capital outlay for reporting, but it's through the transportation of New Mexico. And I have not received any others for my other capital outlay grants.
Okay,
Do you have any questions?
I do not. I'll make a motion to approve the grant agreement, 9A. It has been seconded. Roy Lee, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
5 yes votes. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies. Item 9B, request for approval of New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration Fund 93-100 capitalist appropriation project agreement for $100,000.
Yes, so this is they approved our grant for $100,000 for equipment, and an asphalt hot box and a jumping jack and a plate compactor plus a skid plate and a towel behind air compressor is what will be purchased with this $100,000. Do you have any questions?
I'll make the motion to approve 9B.
Second.
We have a second. Mr. Savage, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Criswell,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
and myself, 5 yes votes. Okay,
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. Media? No media?
I'm checking. No, sir.